So Elon Musk is in full panic mode today as he basically just exposed himself and his platform. Let me show you guys what we're talking about, and let's jump right in. So this is the headline. Elon Musk X rolls out feature that shows users' country of origin, then suddenly removes it. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. First, you have to understand that there's a whole bunch of basically bot type accounts on Elon Musk platform. So this is one. It's called Doge Designer, and you never know what the heck this thing is. Like, is this Elon Musk alt account? Is this an Elon Musk employee? Is this just a bot? I really don't know. But I can tell you what I do know. If you ever look at this type of account, there's a whole bunch of them on Musk platform. They basically just fluff and pump Elon Musk all day, every day. Seriously. And this is a fake image. It says, "It is scary how real AI is starting to look," right? And it's got Musk hanging out with the other tech bros, Google, NVIDIA, and OpenAI, and it's all fake, okay? And then you have this also that's like, someone made a video of said fake thing, and Ronald McDonald's now jumping out of the Cybertruck while they're eating McDonald's. So it turns out when Musk platform had this new feature where you could see where these accounts are from, this particular one, I guess, Doge Designer is from India. So, and I'm sure you guys get where this is going. And so then suddenly everyone on the Musk platform was exposing various bot type accounts. And it was like, oh my God, these are from all over the place. And so then they removed the feature. So for example, there's another one. This person says, X's new location feature exposing bot farmers, foreigners, and all across the both sides of the fence, but both sides are picking each other apart. Like they have exposed the other side of something, right? Here's something for MAGA Trump bots are doing it too. And I guess this is a MAGA Trump bot that's, from Nigeria. The Musk people will say, well, some of these readings may not necessarily be accurate, so therefore we would have to remove the feature. Who knows, right? I mean, in this situation, who knows anymore with this kind of stuff, because there's so many of these type of accounts. The Mario one's another one, and Musk will tweet this out to his followers nonstop. Some of these type of accounts are indeed real people. So the Farzad guy, he's a real person. We talk about sometimes on the channel. He's a Tesla stock promoter. He's a real person, but he talks like a bot.
Okay, I want to talk about something that I think is being massively underappreciated in the entire autonomous vehicle conversation. And it's not the technology. We talk about that all the time on this channel, and it's not even the labor displacement, which is very real and needs to be addressed. What I want to talk about is how robo-taxis are going to fundamentally transform economically disadvantaged areas in the United States and around the world. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I really think this could be one of the most positive second-order effects of the entire AI revolution. And here's why I think that is.
You got actual bots. You have people who have alt accounts, which Musk has been accused of having alt accounts where basically you sign in as, another name, and it sounds like Musk, it laughs like Musk, it plays video games like Musk, right? And you're just like, is that you, Musk? And then they'll pretend that it's not. Who knows anymore in this day and age? And it's so hard to talk about anything these days because, like, this is a story that came out before, and you would think that this would ruin someone's career. This is Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and there was like another guy, and they were getting money from Russia. Basically, they're right-wing influencer people that say things that the Kremlin likes. And they even apologize for said thing, and they act like they're victims getting a bunch of money. It's this crazy world that we live in. And it's hard to talk about this stuff every day because it's getting more and more wacky. Like, I can't even tell like what's real or not real anymore because it's so weird. This is just an hour ago from the Homeland Security account. And they have a picture of Trump, making, I don't know what you want to call it, an exasperation face, a wow face, or whatever you want to call it. This is an actual tweet from a government account. And then what they were tweeting out is supposedly the Homeland Security account was made in Israel, account based in Tel Aviv. Like, what? I don't even know what to make of this stuff, And this is just an hour ago. And so then, it might have been this particular post is when Musk then remove the feature that you couldn't see. Now you can't see where accounts are from. So I really don't know. I really don't know what's going on with this stuff. Other than this is going to be a plague on social media and, you could say media in our lives for a long time. And it's unfortunate because, for example, I'll try to illustrate this stuff more. This is another thing. Like, this is an article, Elon Musk better than Jesus. And I guess when you read into it, you would ask Elon Musk's AI chat, what do you think about Musk? And it would just tell you that Musk is awesome. So for example, it says, We cannot say for sure if Elon Musk dialed up the flattery quotient on his chatbot, because we don't know where this is coming from. But Grok, that's Elon Musk's thing, after the author Joyce Carol Oates publicly humiliated him this month, what we can say is yesterday Grok did assert in a response to a question from an ex-user. Musk edges out Jesus Christ, Son of God, as a role model for society. The bite-sided Musk's relentless innovation, risk-taking, etc., right? And then this was the Washington Post did a story on this. Elon Musk's Grok chatbot ranks him as the world's greatest human. User on X shared examples of the, quote, truth-seeking thing where I guess the bot was calling Musk really handsome, genius, and more fit than LeBron James, right? That kind of stuff. And if you want to read more of this kind of stuff, you can read it for yourself. Like, I guess he's even genius level intellect, right? Ranked him above, number one human above Leonardo da Vinci. Point being is, if you can, manipulate social media and these kind of things, you can get a bunch of people to follow whatever nonsense that you say. And let me give you an example of the type of nonsense you have to deal with in today's world. So this is the White House account here. And I guess Trump was tweeting out, I have just gotten the highest poll numbers of my political career. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, seriously, like, what are you talking about? Because all the poll numbers lately, even Fox News was saying that you're underwater, right? And so I didn't realize like how bad the situation was in USA until if you follow my channel, there's this person named Tori, I think her last name was Branham, something like that. And she was the one who claims to call the Hyundai plant. And I was looking through her social media, a couple weeks ago, and she would just post like nonstop nonsense. And what I mean by nonsense is sort of, there's several websites out in the world that are probably bot generated or something of that nature, basically fake news, right? Essentially what it is. And for people like a Tory, I personally think that she's dumb enough to just believe anything, okay? So there's some people who are smart enough to know what they're pushing are lies, but they push out anyway because they manipulate other, so mean here. It's hard to talk about this, but just say other naive people, right? Because oftentimes this whole Trump cult, there's a couple of types of people. Some who are smart enough to manipulate the others, and the other people who get manipulated. And I guess you could throw a third, person in their account are all the bots. And so like this kind of thing for any, intelligent person or informed person, however you want to say it, I know it's mean. It's hard to talk about this stuff because you want to tell people the truth and not be too mean. But like if you fall for any of the crap that Trump puts out there, like you're completely naive and gullible, right? So Trump nonstop lies the same way that Elon Musk lies, and then they manipulate social media to do that. And so that's why sometimes you have to show like, hey guys, even Fox News is saying Trump is underwater, or here's another one. Economic conditions, right? Negative. The nation's saying 76%. Trump, is not good. And then even Trump, sometimes like he'll talk about in public that his poll numbers are not doing great. And so how do we deal with this stuff these days? So let me give you an example of everything is all about like where the discussion is and who's, I guess you can say, controlling said discussion or who's pushing forth whatever, agenda. And I was thinking about this today because, so for example, and I'll try my best to explain things. It's so much going on. Here in Korea, much of the talk has been, say, about the G20, okay? It's in South Africa this year, and nations who are, in this thing pretty much sent representatives. The USA did not, okay? So this would actually be, I think, or should be, I should say, a bigger story than it is in USA that, hey, why isn't USA going to make deals? Like, where's America? Why don't we want to talk about growth and climate change? Don't we want to build relationships in Africa or wherever, right? And so for us in here, say in Korea, that's what the news is. Hey, the president's in in South Africa and other countries there as well. And if you're in Canada or in Europe, you can let me know if the news has been about G20 also. But in USA, it really hasn't been. And I just want to give you guys a different flavor of like everything depends on the culture and who's controlling the narrative. So in this situation, for example, in the Trumpy world, right, as I was just showing you guys, he's trying to get it focused on his poll numbers and just basically tell lies about that, right? Because the narrative is like Trump is sinking in the poll numbers. And so then I guess we ignore the whole G20 stuff, which I understand, just focus on the poll number stuff. Here in Korea, how life is really different. Just give you an example. There's a popular YouTuber that got in trouble recently. This is just a couple days ago. And basically what it is, he's a travel YouTuber, and then there's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 travel YouTubers. My wife watches this stuff. And lately they've all been going on TV and kind of don't do YouTube as much anymore and just do TV things, right? There's big money in TV or whatever. And she started this company of, you can buy a bunch of, travel wallets and stuff like that from her or whatever. And it came out that her company, she has like 3 employees and they're working in the basement, basically. And it's like really bad conditions. A very, very small room, no windows, etc. Like 2 floors down. I think it's a basement. And in Korea, this is like massive shame. It's just, shame is like a really big concept here, which you don't necessarily find in USA. People will, lie, cheat, and steal, and then I guess you celebrate said thing. The whole thing is strange to me. Like for example, I would imagine, and you guys can tell me, please share, say in UK or Canada or Australia, wherever you're watching from, Germany. We have people all over the world watch this channel. But just imagine if like one of your big, people on YouTube or Twitter or whatever came out that it turns out they're taking money from Russia. Like what would happen to your career if you're in Canada or something like that? I'm just curious on that. But I guess in USA it doesn't ruin your career. you think it would, right? And there's like a whole FBI investigation on this stuff. It's the whole thing is frankly sick, and that's why it's weird to talk about what's going on in the US these days, because you never know, like is this person like a bot? Say if you talk to someone online, or they really are a human being, say in the Farza situation, but he talks like a bot. And I always tell you guys all the time, like I just try to talk like a normal person here. And even if, say, a channel that you watch that's more left wing, like it's just filled with nonstop yelling. Even if you agree with stuff, even if I agree with some stuff, like nonstop yelling. Some of these channels are now using AI generate content, and they are, and you know who they are. I'm not mentioning names because people get pissed off if I tell them the truth, but channels from left and right use AI stuff these days, and it's ludicrous. And I just don't know what to say. That's why I mentioned this thing in Korea where, shame plays a big role. It's different than, say, USA. I'll give you another example. This is just how cultures are different. This is an article here in Korea. It says, Starbucks customer stirs debate in Korea after charging electric unicycle inside a cafe, which is actually a really interesting issue. I hadn't heard of something like this before, and I talked to my wife about this one yesterday. So the basic idea is that if you go to a cafe, do you guys know, using your computer, charging your phone isn't so unusual. You'll see that in cafes. But what if we get to the point where like people are bringing their, robot dogs and whatever cars and now unicycles or whatever, because electricity is going to be a big thing. Or theoretically, for example, let's say I take a really long cable from inside the coffee shop and charge my car with it, which you're talking about real money here. And so the reason why this becomes important is that if you to say, hey, let's have a national debate of like, should we make a law for something like this, which I think is a reasonable discussion. And there's any number of things that you can talk about with that, but this is sort of why you'd want, regulations and national discussion on this kind of stuff. How do we treat businesses? How do businesses treat people? How do we treat each other? And what does it mean to be, a respectful citizen? I hope this stuff makes sense. Another example, and I'm just showing you what's going on in Korea. Sometimes people ask me what sort of issues that we deal with. Another story, which I think is going to be a big problem all around the world, everywhere, similar type of stuff. Top universities react to AI cheating scandals, yet concrete disciplinary steps remain elusive, right? I think that, AI stuff, cheating at university is going to be a problem everywhere around the world. It's going to be massive, issues with this, because these days, basically, you got a phone in your pocket, right? And the phone can, contact whatever and get basically cheat on any answer and anything that you ever need. and so, I don't know, are we going to have to go to, tests in the future where we're going to have metal detectors to make sure that we don't have any electronic devices on us. And then there'll be a whole industry of making plastic, earphone pieces to get around the metal detector so you can cheat on whatever exams. I mean, it's going to be just a whole complete fiasco. So anyway, I know I talked about a lot in this today, but I just wanted to go over this because I think this story of finding out where certain accounts are from is big. And also want to reiterate like how all these fake images are flooding social media, and they're getting more and more real. And in my opinion, this kind of stuff should be laws against it, especially during election season. California tried to do something like this, but I think the issue becomes in USA, the argument that you would make against it, you'd say, well, no, you have to allow AI images and lies because that's freedom of speech. And I think you got a real problem in USA going forward, because it's just going to be so easy just to make crap up about anyone and make it look realistic. So it's going to be a major problem. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.